What's going on, everybody? We're starting a new franchise. I just finally finished Halloween, and now it's time to start a new one. And I want to go in a franchise that I don't really like too much. I did Halloween. I'm like a moderate fan of that. So I decided to go with a franchise that I'm not too familiar with, that I haven't seen in a while, that I will have a fresh set of eyes, not an unbiased opinion for. This is a series I did not grow up with, and what series is that? A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is a Horror Franchise Wednesday. But before I get into my review, let me give you some interesting facts about sleep. Everybody sleeps, alright? I mean, that's just a common fact. If you don't sleep at all, you're dead. Like, if you don't sleep for over like 11 days, you're gonna die. Everybody dreams at least 2 to 4 hours a night, like 4 to 7 different dreams every single night. So even if you're blind, some people even dream in black and white. Not everybody dreams in color. You know, as they say, like if you grew up watching black and white television, you're most likely to dream in black and white. I've never had a black and white dream before, but I found that interesting. Animals dream too, so your little cat or dog could get killed by Freddy, and Freddy will kill him too. But anyways, enough of those super little facts. Those are just little things I found interesting. There's many more facts that you can look up, but everybody dreams, so everybody can be a victim by Freddy. But Nightmare on Elm Street, directed and written by Wes Craven, the horror master himself, up there next to John Carpenter, Alfred Hitchcock, top directors up there. George Romero, he's one of them. This movie came out in 1984, and it was the very first movie of Johnny Depp. And this movie is basically based off of a real story that Wes Craven heard about some guy in Asia who didn't want to sleep. He was scared shitless of sleeping, and then one day he died. Wes Craven took that idea and he made a villain, and he gave him the glove. And the glove is basically based off of his own fear of his cat's claws, supposedly. There's a story about how Wes Craven was scared of his cat's claws. Well, then why the fuck do you have a cat? And Freddy, the name of our villain, is inspired by one of Wes Craven's bullies growing up. But this is just like a horror classic. It became a horror icon. It's now part of the top 3. You got Myers, Jason, and now Freddy. But Freddy came last. This came out in 1984, so this is after Jason had 4 sequels and Michael already had his first 3 movies. But this movie takes place in 1984. It's in like California. You see palm trees, and it's about all these teenagers who find out very quickly that they're all having the same exact dream about the same person named Freddy Krueger. And then you find out that their parents had something to do with this guy's disappearance. Find out that Freddy Krueger escaped jail time based off of some bad warrant that didn't get signed. And then the parents retaliated and went to his boiler room where he was hiding and burned him. And now it's like 15 years later or so, or maybe 10 years later, and he's killing those people's kids in their sleep. So let's just start with the positives of this movie. Positives is it has a very unique aspect. It's a scary aspect because, you know, Myers and Jason, you can escape them on foot, keep running, but you cannot escape sleeping. You will always be dreaming. There will always be a time where you just have to zonk out, and you're gonna have to face them no matter what. This movie opens up and Freddy's just making his glove. I like that they give you kind of like a very brief origin story of the glove. I like how this movie opens up with Tina, and you're thinking that she's gonna be your final girl, and then she invites her friends over to stay at her house, and you're thinking, this is our final girl, right? She's the main one we're supposed to focus on. And Nancy's just kind of like a side character, but then Tina dies, and then now we're stuck with Nancy, and you're like, oh, she's the final girl. And then quickly you find out that what happens in their dreams happens in real life. Tina wakes up with like a tear in her shirt, and then when she dies in her sleep, you die in real life. Out of the big 3, this franchise does have the most unique killer, has the most unique aspect, story, origin. Jason and Michael, they lack that. But with Michael, it's okay, because that's the best part of it. With Jason, there's like a lot of continuity errors. Like, he wasn't even supposed to be a character. He was supposed to be a dead kid in the first one, and all of a sudden they just brought him and said, fuck it, he's an adult now. I found it interesting that Shay, I forget her name, but the actress from Insidious, the old lady in the Insidious movies, she plays a teacher in this movie, and I completely forgot about that. Now the score, we gotta talk about the score. The score for this movie is very unique. It sets the tone, and that's what every big 3 horror franchises had. They all have their score. You know, Jason has his little noise, and then Michael Myers has the synthesizer, piano, and now Freddy has his score. But not only that, Freddy has his own theme song. He has children playing jump rope and they're singing his song. Jason and Michael don't have that. And for a 1984 film, this movie was able to pull off a lot of good special effects. The wall with Freddy coming out of the wall, coming out of the bed towards the end. They turn the bed basically into like an elastic sheet, and he just rises out. Rips his own face off, chops his fingers off on purpose, just trying to fucking taunt his victims. He's just having a good time. He's laughing. He doesn't give a shit. So not only is Freddy killing his victims, he's purposely tormenting them, having fun with his victims because he knows sooner or later he's going to get them. It doesn't matter. He has no time limit. Nothing can stop him. Just literally nothing. Except they try to find something out at the end, but I'll get to that. But, there's no cops you can call. It's in your sleep. What I also found interesting about this movie is the first couple of kills. There's not that many kills in this movie, but the first couple of kills, they purposely make one look like a murder, and then the second one looks like a suicide, but then the third one looks like a supernatural what the fuck's going on. That's where this movie kind of went wrong. That whole scene right there. With the blood, the geyser, you know what I'm talking about. And I enjoyed these characters. These characters weren't shitheads. I'm sick of these horror movies where they don't have much character, you don't really care, but they actually feel like a group of friends. There's good chemistry between Tina and Nancy. The negative that comes with that is there's not much of an emotional impact with each death. So that's kind of a negative. Even when her own mom dies at the end. But each scene is entertaining in some ways. It just flows well. The movie pace is great. There's no unnecessary things inserted in here. There's just so many creative scenes and just special effects, things that Freddy's doing. Tina coming through the school hallway. Lots of iconic moments in this movie. Freddy's claw coming out of the bathtub and he pulls her down. And then you see Nancy, played by Heather Langencamp, you see her boobs. I swear to God, if you look closely, you see her boobs, and these characters are supposed to be 15 years old. I know that because of the news report. It said, Tina, dead, 15 years old. So I'm going based off of that. They're all 15. This is child pornography. But you do get the cliche boyfriend aspect where the boyfriend's horny, then they have sex and you hear the noises. That whole thing, but that's just the common 80s slasher vibe, and I like the 80s vibe in this movie. This movie is completely drenched in 80s atmosphere. You got Johnny Depp, he's watching his little tiny ass TV, listening to, he got big ass headphones, he got a record player, all this 80s technology. And a couple of moments that did make me laugh, after Johnny Depp dies, there's a guy bringing a stretcher in, but one of the cops says, you don't need a stretcher, you need a mop. Which is exactly what I was thinking. It's why are they bringing a stretcher in? There's no fucking body. There's not even organs. But anyways, just go over my negatives. My negative is Nancy. Alright, I'm going to be the first one to say this. I think she's a weaker actress than Tina, and I felt like Tina should have been the final girl. It may be blasphemy, but like I said, I didn't grow up with this franchise, so therefore I'm not nostalgically connected to Heather Langencamp as a character. I don't care. I felt like Tina was better. This movie made a couple of little small logical errors. How did Heather Langencamp, Nancy, she calls her dad, says, come over here in 20 minutes, and then she starts talking to her mom and puts her to bed, and then she somehow sets up all these traps in the house after that phone call within 10 minutes? Setting up the light bulb, the wiring, that sledgehammer in 10 minutes? And then she's reading the book she hasn't even studied it yet. It's she learned pretty quickly if you ask me. And then she sets Freddy on fire and you can tell it's a fire suit. He just got bloated. Tina goes to the sleep doctor and then a week, and she gets her arm hurt and it's bleeding and they wrap it up. And then later on in the movie, she establishes that it's a week later because she says, I haven't slept in 7 days, since that last incident. And her arm's still bleeding. It's is your arm going to heal anytime soon? Is it going to scab up? It's still bleeding it just happened today. It wasn't that major of a wound, so why is it still bleeding a whole week later? Just a little tiny small error that I found. And one thing that kind of irritated me growing up, why I stayed away from this franchise, and I only went through it once or twice as a kid and stayed away, was because I didn't like Freddy's attitude. I like that he taunts his victims, but I don't like his maniacal laugh. It's not threatening. It's not actually that maniacal. It just kind of sounds corny if you ask me. And then just the way he runs. You gotta admit, that was a very weird run. And then Nancy's mom. Nancy's mom is just it got to a point where her denial was just ridiculous. At what point are you gonna just admit what you did? It took forever for her to finally show the glove and explain shit, and she's just drinking left and right. Nancy, you're crazy. And I don't understand the third act of this movie. It almost tries to allude to how everything was just a dream. Everything. The whole fucking movie. Just a dream. And then all of a sudden, evil lives on. Which is the ending that Wes Craven did not agree with. Apparently, the ending of this movie was supposed to be happy. Maybe Nancy was supposed to just walk away. Credits start rolling. Happy ending. But nope. Studio heads got involved. One of the producers, Robert Shea, whatever his name is, he got involved and said, no, Freddy should just, the car should just turn into Freddy and then take him away. And I hate that ending. That is the worst part of this movie. It's it just ruins the whole journey. It didn't seem where Nancy's mom dies on the bed. What the fuck happened there? She just turns into a skeleton. She's going beneath the bed. I can't explain that to me. What the hell is going on there? That's supposed to be real life. Alright, now Freddy is not supposed to be that supernatural person no more. He's supposed to be in the real world now, and he's still doing crazy shit that he should only be doing in dream world. Maybe I don't understand the lore of this story as well as you guys do, so you can explain it to me. How did he pull that shit off? And then, like I said, Nancy, there's like no emotional impact. She just looks at her dead mom. It's like, alright, now do you believe me, Dad? It's like, you should be crying. That's your dead mom. I know she's an alcoholic, but you should still love her. And then they establish what Freddy's weakness is, and that's not having any fear in him, and Nancy pulls that off and defeats him, so why is there an Evil Lives On ending? It makes no sense. She defeated him. I just hate Evil Lives On endings. They piss me off. But because of this movie's uniqueness, and because it is a horror icon, the score, the creativeness, the kills, the special effects, this is a good movie. So therefore I say, when it comes to A Nightmare on Elm Street, you should definitely go out and buy this classic. Well, Mr. Hatter Ward's gonna go to Tina. She gets her stomach sliced up by Freddy's claw and dragged up against the wall and ceiling and falls down to the bed and splats. Very good special effects, and nothing has ever come close in this franchise. And the Mr. Twig Award for lamest kill is gonna go to Tina's boyfriend, who gets strangled in the jail cell while he's awake apparently. I don't even think he was asleep. And those are my thoughts. What did you think about this classic from 1984? Is it your favorite of the big three? Is this your favorite of this franchise? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review at all, you can click on that like button and to subscribe by clicking on my beautiful cartoon face in 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.